we were discussing about this Rosh and Company case study, and then halfway through we had to leave that because it was time that day. It's a small question. This one person, Mary Hobbs, joins Rosh and Company. She has worked as an accountant for a very long time in Rosh and Company. Later on, she was taken as a finance director in the same company. Then when she joined the company, she observed that the board of directors, all of them are quite senior to her. They are there for many years, and the the executive chairman is Timothy Rosh. Um, See, after his retirement, they're thinking about bringing his son into that chairman position. Okay. They were not recruiting anyone external. See, there are two types of directors: executive directors and non-executive directors. The non-executive directors are also, once upon a time, they were employees of Rosh and Company. Later on, they were taken. Technically, there is no, they do not have the attitude of recruiting anyone from outside. Even after a death of one non-executive director, also the post was still vacant. They do not have an intention to recruit anyone into that place. So I think the number of non-executive directors now, as of now, is only 2 in the company. That's the scenario. That's the background. See, then she saw that they sit alongside an executive board of 7 that, apart from Mary, have all been in the post for 10 years. That is what we observe. Then Mary highlighted this aspect. Mary noted that board meetings were very rarely contain any significant discussion. Anything which was decided, a decision that is taken, they did not bring it for discussion or debate. They were kind of agreeing to the decisions that were taken in the meeting. So, as such, there is nothing about discussing. It was all, they would conform to anything whatever was proposed. So that was the attitude what was seen there. She was told and had worked for the company for so long that they all knew that was best for the company in any given situation. And she also observed one more important thing. Mary observed that notes and strategy were not presented at the board meetings, and she asked Timothy Rosh whether the existing board was fully equipped to formulate strategy. Are they qualified enough, or do they have those abilities to formulate strategy? The important thing, one more thing she observed was, they didn't come from diversified fields. Somewhere we saw that. Then Mary observed that notes on strategy were not presented at board meetings, and she asked Timothy Rosh, who's the executive chairman, whether the existing board was fully equipped to formulate strategy in the changing world of retailing, and whether a nominations committee would help address weaknesses. She did not receive a reply. We read through the entire question and scenario given. Then Timothy Rosh has subsequently approached you, an external consultant, to see if there are any weaknesses in the current governance structures of Rosh and Company. He also wanted your views on the role and usefulness of a nominations committee. So keep this content in mind. We'll quickly go to the PPT and try to understand what is the role of nominations committee. We'll get back to this particular case study as soon as we understand about nominations committee. The font is so less. Okay. Non-executive directors, I have explained to you the other day. Non-executive directors, advantages of having them on the board was because they do not receive the remuneration from the company. It's only the directors' fees what they receive for the work they carry on, but they are not regular employees of the company. Therefore, their decisions are unbiased. They have an independent view. Okay, they monitor with an independent view, independent review. They um, come from diversified areas, so they carry with them their expertise, perception, communication, and discipline. See, the reasons for independence of NEDs also I did discuss the other day. To provide a detached and objective view of the board decisions, to provide expertise and communicate effectively, to provide shareholders with an independent voice on the board, to provide confidence in corporate governance, to reduce accusations of self-interest in the behavior of executives. So these are the reasons. But then I mean, they have to have an independent view and review of the company, so that the chances of conforming with whatever decisions the senior management take, that can be minimized. See, they need not conform with that. They need not accept. They did not agree with whatever the senior management decides. They have to have that skepticism attitude, which is questioning: is it appropriate? Is it right? So look into that. But there is a threat to independence of NEDC in all of the NEDs in the following situations. If they have a material business relationship, maybe they in some form they receive some benefit, some business transactions with the business. Therefore, that biased attitude, favorable attitude towards the management would always be there. Or they should not be employees in the past 5 years. That's another thing. Then they should not have cross directorship in another company. They should not be receiving remuneration from the company besides um, directors fees. Should not have close ties with family ties with directors. um, Significant, they should not be significant shareholders. They should they should not, if they serve on board for more than 9 years, there is a threat. Okay, so in this case we see most of the points are uh, present there in Rosh and Company. The directors, executive directors were once upon a time the employees of Rosh and Company. Okay, they are employees. They were employees in the last few years. They are there for the last 10 years. So serve on the board for last 10 years. Okay, some of the points here we see that there is a threat to independence of NEDs. Okay, um, who should be a chairman and CEO? A chairman and CEO, clear division of responsibilities must exist at the head of the company. The point here is, see, these are two important roles at the strategic level. If both of them are taken up by one individual, then decisions would not be appropriate. If there are two people, at least two different opinions, two different perspectives can be brought into the decision making. But if it is both the roles are taken up by one person, every possible chance would be there in terms of a fraud happening. We will be studying in the coming days the concept of internal control. See, under internal control, there is one component called as control activities. One of the control activities is the duty should be segregated and allotted. So, if we see that there are two different roles, one role of a chairman, one role of a CEO, then both of them should not be taken up by one individual. A clear division of responsibilities must exist at the head of the company. If it is not so, then absolutely things will be um, biased. Only one perception would be there. um, the person who has both the roles will have the um, power, unfettered power of decision. So who would be there to question them? So that becomes a risk to the business. Splitting role of chairman and CEO, you should always remember. See, when you will be joining corporates or any organization, see, roles at the senior level especially should not be assigned to one individual. Okay, the same person is taking care of everything. Uh, is absolutely um, not to be done, not to be taken up. What are the reasons for splitting role of chairman and CEO? Reasons for splitting is representation, accountability, and temptation. So each role has its own set of responsibilities. They do represent a particular activity decision, and if the most important thing about not joining or not assigning the multiple roles to one individual and splitting them and distributing among them is to see that there is no kind of a fraud happens, there is no temptation to do something wrong. If there are two people, at least one will raise I mean the allegation against the other if something is wrong. But if there is no one to raise anything, there is every possibility to be involved in fraud. So that should not be the case, that should not happen. Okay. um See, reasons against splitting is, I mean, generally, people come out with all logics and reasons stating that one individual is capable enough of doing multiple tasks, and then of late, everybody talks about multiple tasking and doing multiple, fulfilling multiple roles at the same time, etc. So, but human abilities are different. We should understand that one individual cannot take up the role of multiple people, and then multiple tasks cannot be taken up by that. So that part of it has to be remembered. So what's the responsibility of chairman? What is the responsibility of CEO? Responsibility of chairman: ensure that the board sets and implements the company's directions and strategies effectively. Okay. Then act as the company's lead representative, explaining aims and policies to the shareholders. So that's the role of the chairman. What is the role of the, or what is the responsibility of the CEO? Now, CEO's responsibility is for the performance of the company as determined by the board strategy. How do they implement and achieve the targets that are set, the plans that are prepared? How does the implementation happen? Then the CEO reports to the chairman and the board of directors. See, the performance part of it, the implementation of the strategy part of it is taken care or looked into by the CEO. CEO now then reports to the chairman and to the board of directors. The chairman is responsible to implement the company's direction and strategies effectively. Okay. See, these are decided and implemented. So at the time of implementation, how is the implementation going on is looked into by the CEO. CEO ultimately reports to the chairman and the board of directors. Who got disconnected? Who's Nitin Varghese Matthew?
Recording in progress.
Who's recording the class? You are recording the class, Nitin. Okay. Okay. Then the next one is, what is induction and CPD? What is CPD? CPD talks about continuing professional development. The board of directors, what are the induction requirements? What does it mean by induction? Anyone? Any one of you, can you tell me what is the meaning of induction? I'm not supposed to ask you questions. Even if I ask, you would not respond. Any one of you, what's the meaning of induction? Put an answer in the chat box. Any one of you knows what is the meaning of induction? Anyone listening to the class? In any paper, did you learn about familiarizing new employees? Yes, somebody has answered. Good. Familiarizing new employees with company. So some kind of initial training wherein they are made yes, familiar with the company's policies, procedures, the to make them be aware of what's the culture of the organization, etc. So first aspect of it is introducing the employees to the organization and the culture in the organization. They are told about what is their role, responsibility, etc. So induction is given to the employees. Did you ever study about the business ethics? Any paper? There is a principle of business ethics which says, because there are many things about objectivity, confidentiality, integrity. There is one thing called as competence and due care, professional due care, competence and professional due care. What does it say? The people who join the organization, they have to ensure that they possess the skills that are required, to carry on with their duties. See, it is their responsibility. So if at all, if they do not have those skills, they have to update themselves, acquire those skills, and carry on with the work. So that is a requirement. In this changing times, see what skills are applicable today may not be applicable tomorrow. So there is a need for the employees, the people, the staff, the management in the organization to enhance their skill. So it is not only that when they join the organization, whatever skills they possess, they continue with that, but it is also important that they acquire new skills. For that, there is a requirement. See, all professional bodies also have this requirement to maintain their license, to have the continued members and then have the membership maintained by them, they have to acquire certain credits, okay, in the form of continuing professional development. So tomorrow with this qualification you will also be expected to put in certain credits each period, okay, so that you can get the benefits of being the member of that particular professional body. So continuing professional development, expand and update knowledge. Formal CPD programs should be conducted in the organization for the benefit, for the skill development of the employees in the organization. So it may sounds very fascinating to listen to someone saying that I joined in the organization in this capacity, in this role, and I'm retiring from that. So it may sound nice, but that is absolutely not the thing which should take place. See, when people join in one capacity, um, it should not be the case where they continue in that same capacity for a very long period. Tomorrow when you join also, you should not think that I this is my dream company, this is my dream role, therefore that's it, I don't want to do anything else. In terms of qualifications also, you should never say that I've studied enough, let me now take a break and then stop or discontinue or something like that. See, it is important that the skills have to be enhanced with the changing times. Everything is done in a different manner these days. There's a lot of innovation which is brought into the work in the organization. To be on par with what is happening in the market, one has to enhance their skill. So now it is the responsibility in the organization also to ensure that employees skills are enhanced. Therefore, from time to time, whatever are the sessions that are to be conducted for the benefit of the employees also should be taken care by the board of directors. It is their responsibility to conduct the training sessions, to ensure that there is proper attendance during those training sessions, the skills are enhanced so that they are involved in um, productive work, they come out with innovation in their work style, etc. So all that also has to be taken up. Then diversity on the board. So diversity describes the range of visible and non-visible differences that exist between people. So here in Rosh and Company, what was the scenario? All of them, almost all of them were from similar background. So there was no diversity there. See, people from diversified fields bring in their expertise, the situation would be different. They contribute multiple aspects, multiple um, levels of knowledge, and then expertise will be pooled up together for the benefit of the organization to take better decisions. Okay. Diversity describes a range of visible, non-visible differences that exist between people. Recommendations are to increase diversity from 2012, which include new disclosures and measurable objectives. So um, it is important to have diversified people on the board, which Roche and Company did not have. Okay. Now, performance evaluation, board as a whole, directors individually, board committees. So we will now be looking into what are the different board committees. The board of directors uh, appoint different committees. First, we'll see nominations committee. Go back to the case study, complete that, come back, and then complete with the other committees. So the board of directors appoint nominations committee, remuneration committee, risk committee, audit committee. Four different committees. The first one, nominate. First, let's see what is the importance of these committees. It reduces board workload because each committee will be looking into a specific area, and decisions will be taken related to those areas. So that is one important thing, that because the board of directors have, the board has certain responsibilities, they have multiple roles to play, they have responsibilities to take up, and every decision that is taken, their approval is required. So when the work is, I mean, there is great responsibility with the board of directors. It's always better that there is some amount of divisionalization or allocation of work to different committees. So on that note, committees are formed. So it reduces the board workload and enables them to improve focus on other issues. Creates structures that can use inherent expertise to improve decisions in key areas. So somebody who's capable of taking decisions, I think if charge is given to them, if they are made as the responsible person of a particular committee, better decisions by that person is possible to be taken up. Communicates to shareholders that directors take these issues seriously. Increase in shareholders' confidence. Communicates to stakeholders the importance of remuneration and risk, and satisfy requirements. The UK Corporate Governance Code 2010. Now that talks about the principle based approach. So as part of that, this is also one requirement that the committees are formed. Okay. The first one is nominations committee. What is the role of nominations committee? It provides a formal, rigorous, and transparent procedure for the appointments of new directors to the board. The They are involved in providing formal, rigorous, and transparent procedure for the appointment of new directors to the board. The responsibilities of nominations committee: review regularly the structure, size, and composition of the board and make recommendations to the board. So, who all are constituting the board of directors? So, they have to look into that. They have to decide on what would be the structures, the size, composition of the board, and make recommendations to the board to recruit someone else, to appoint someone else, maybe replace them or change them in on rotation basis. Such kind of recommendations would be given by the nominations committee. They consider the balance between, there should be a balance between the executive and the non-executive directors on the board of directors. Ensure appropriate management of diversity to board composition. These directors should be from diversified fields. Provide an appropriate balance of power to reduce domination in executive selection by the CEO or chairman. Reduce the domination in executive selection by CEO or chairman. They cannot decide about who would be the directors who would be selected for different roles. Okay, continued with that, we see that evaluate the balance of skills, knowledge, and experience of the board. Full consideration to succession planning for directors, whether they should be continued or not. Full consideration to succession planning for directors. Prepare a description of the role and capabilities required for any particular board appointment, including that of the chairman. Identify and nominate for the approval by the board candidates to fill board vacancies. Recommendations to the board concerning the standing for reappointment of directors. Be seen to operate independently for the benefit of shareholders. So ultimately, they look at the overall benefit of the shareholders. So a nominations committee will be basically looking into who would be constituting in the board of directors. So what is how many number of executive, non-executive directors should be there? Should there be I mean, should the executive directors be continued after their term? Is there any kind of a domination by the CEO or chairman on these executives to minimize on that, to reduce that, to ensure that the people from who are appointed are from diversified fields, etc. Basically, they would be looking into the nominations of the executive directors as well as the non-executive directors. So a proportion of these two categories should be there. That is what is looked into by the nominations committee. Okay. If at all, if there is a vacancy that arises, that has to be appropriately filled. Then look at the reappointment of directors, and ultimately the overall benefit of the shareholders is what has to be looked into. Okay. We are on. We are discussing the content of Rosh and Company. So now Mary felt that. So Mary write a report to Timothy Rosh. So Mary wants to write a report to Timothy Rosh because Timothy Rosh has subsequently approached you, an external consultant. No, you are to write a report. You are in the capacity of an external consultant to see if there are any weaknesses in the current governance structures of Rosh and Company. He also wanted your view on the role and usefulness of a, should there be a nomination committee basically. So he's asking you, you are an external consultant. You would not have to take the uh, take any biased opinion, biased decision, or you need not favor anyone in the organization, because basically you are an external consultant. Unbiased, impartial view can be given. Then what is the scenario? According to that, whatever, if there are any kind of loopholes or inappropriate scenario, that has to be exhibited there in a manner which wherein you are communicating the problem effectively. Of course, you have to also mind your the tone which you use, or the language which you use should be in a professional way. Professional behavior is what is expected. Okay. So now you have to write. So all reports. So if the question says that it is a report style of writing the answer. So if at all, if a report has to be written, the reports start in the format of, you will address that, you will address it to whom are you writing? Timothy Rosh. Who's Timothy Rosh? Timothy Rosh is the executive chairman. So you will address the person's name, then chairman, executive chairman, Rosh and Company. So address it to the person, and who's writing? You are writing. Who are you? Your role is an external consultant. So immediately write, from whom is this report being sent to? Timothy Rosh. You see, individually you will not be taking your name. Therefore, you just have to mention your designation. The designation now here is, you are an external consultant. Done. Talk about external consultant. And every report that you write should have a subject. So what's the subject? Subject is criticism against the governance at Rosh and Company, and usefulness of nominations committee. So some tagline in your own words which represents the scenario there in that particular case study. The question is very clearly asked about, you are asked to criticize about the governance arrangements, if at all, if there is anything to be criticized. So criticism against the governance at Rosh and Company, and the usefulness of nomination committee. There is no nomination committee in Rosh and Company. Done. So write a subject line. You're an external consultant here. Put a subject. Okay, write the subject and then start building your answer. Anyone has any point to add? Criticism against the governance. I will scroll the content once again. We are discussing about the criticism at Rosh and Company. You can either speak on the mic, or you can put your point in the chat box. Either ways, it will be welcome. So please do participate. We will, when multiple people respond to the case study, we get to understand different perspectives here. So that is very, very, very useful. Maybe what we can otherwise look at, by following others, their opinion, things would be much clearer for us. I want each one of you to contribute a small case study. So nothing much would be there. I'm really sorry, it is jumping. Okay, please participate in the discussion. 10 students are there, 10 of the you responding also will make a decent amount of answer. What has to be criticized here? What are the points? Any one of you? 100 odd students are there, 100 around today, though, around 100 students are there. Is governance good? It is mostly family domination is there in the um, senior board positions. They're not considering recruiting anyone from outside. They just want to pass on these crucial positions in the organization to their children or the family members. No thought about Rahul, you contribute 1 point. I will add Richard to the classroom. Let's see. When you are not responding, not learning anything, what's the point in getting attendance also? And most of the executive and non-executive directors were once upon a time employees of Rosh and Company. Okay. Therefore, they do not give their independent review. Independent review about the affairs of the organization. So that is again another criticism. They all come from similar background. That's another criticism. So as many points as you talk about, see you will, how many marks are allotted to this particular question? This is 18 marks. So let's say 9 marks will be allotted for criticism, 9 marks, the usefulness of a nominations committee, maybe another 9 marks. So 18 marks. You start presenting your opinion in point wise. See, point wise, in the sense that each area which you have identified as a criticism, write a mini paragraph kind of thing. Don't have to be too lengthy, too elaborate. Just convey the point, explain what it actually means. So, why would you consider that to be a criticism? What is it that is worth criticizing? Has to be clearly communicated. So, that's the skill which you are exhibiting, communication skill. 2-3 times I did mention about all the points of criticism. Last class also I did explain to you. Okay, then people are from similar background. They have worked for so long that they all knew what was best for the company. So nobody was questioning the others. There's no skepticism. They are just confirming with what was going on in the company. Whatever decision was taken was accepted by everyone else in the company. Okay. See, the notes on strategy was not given. So you will comfortably get 9 points of criticism. Each point which you highlight and identify and write there, present there, you can score 1 point on each point which you present there. Now comes, she realized that she asked Timothy Rosh whether the existing board was fully equipped to formulate strategy in the changing world of retailing and whether a nomination committee would help address weaknesses. See, I want any one of you to talk about, is it required? You think a nominations committee would be required to be present or appointed here in Roshan Company? Yes, no, at least that you write. Anyone? Yes, at least. No, at least. I would not know who's written that. Of course, your name is there, but I will not take any decision in favor, against, or anything about that. No. So it's just that you just have to um, answer the question. Is it required to have a nomination committee at Russian company? Okay, I got the point. I understand it very clearly that you don't want me to discuss the case studies. So let me wind it up here, and then I will not touch upon any case study. I will only focus on delivering the content, and that should be the case. Huh. Why specifically? There is an answer. Somebody has answered that yes, there is a need because nomination committee looks into the see, it is required even in Roshan company. Everywhere it is required because they are the ones who uh, contribute their opinion about what is who should be appointed, the board, the composition. Um, Second. So here also we there is a need because um, the executive directors and non-executive directors basically all of are from the Russian company. They were previous employees. They are there for very long period of time. So that part of it will be looked into. Then nomination committee will suggest what should be the tenure of each of the directors or non-executive directors. So such kind of suggestions will be given. From which areas should they be taken, because all of them are from the same group or similar. They are all they one important point which is highlighted here is they all came from similar backgrounds. So what are the different backgrounds from which people should be appointed? Suggestions will be given by the nomination committee that will be looked into. If someone is replaced or the tenure is over.
So such kind of suggestions will be given. Okay. And therefore it is important, that is needed, that there should be a nomination committee. It is required here in Roshan company as well. So if we explain these points clearly, another 9 points will be added. One skill which is highlighted, for which 3 marks are given. Of course, you will be communicating the points to the chairman has asked you. So the skill that is exhibited is communication skill. You will be communicating. Okay. You will be persuading, convincing him in such a manner that based on your decisions he will consider having a nomination of course it has come, the proposal has come from Mary has highlighted that it is there is no nomination committee in the organization, therefore there should be a nomination committee. That's all there. But now as an external consultant you will have to persuade the chairman to do consider appoint having a nomination committee appointed there. Fine. Then professional skills and marks will be awarded for demonstrating skepticism. Skepticism is that attitude which basically questions it whether it is appropriate or not. Okay. So what is going on in the organization is not appropriate. Um, in the sense, the situation of familiarity is there so much in the organization. So is that helpful in the organization? No. Such kind of issues you will be probe into that. Why is that um, on the event, in the event of death of a non-executive, why is that others were not appointed into that particular role? Certain areas where the reasons will have to be raised, I mean the questions have to be raised for the reasons why they have not taken up any other action, that has to be exhibited. So you need to have that attitude with which the skill of questioning that should be there as you run through the content of presenting your answer. You should also have this skill of skepticism, where you say that why is that the executive directors are the past employees, because it's very clearly said that the independence of the NEDs especially will be lost if they are in any capacity associated with the organization as being members of the employees of the organization, or there's some financial transaction, etc. So all that you will have to highlight there. Okay, very good, very good. One student, Ravi's. Okay, good. We'll go back to the PPT. See, the reason why I inserted one, I brought from the examination kit one question and included into that is maybe simultaneously looking into the content and the concept, because as of now, the content that is going on a very dry note. Therefore, I thought a situational understanding about what is appropriate um, would be better. So that's the reason why I have included one case study. I hope you understood how to do that. So what are the committees which the board of directors appoint? First one is nominations committee, who look into the appointment of directors, executives and non-executive directors. Second one is about a remuneration committee. So what is the responsibility of remuneration committee? So the name itself says what is remuneration committee. The role to have an appropriate reward policy. So it is connected to remuneration, self-explanation, self-explaining. So they are involved with matters of remuneration, reward, any kind of incentive, all of them. Okay, so the role of the remuneration committee is to have an appropriate reward policy that attracts, retains, and motivates directors to achieve the long-term interests of shareholders. Okay. What are the objectives of the committee? The objectives of the committee The committee is and is seen to be independent. This committee also is supposed to be independent with access to its own external advice or consultants. Has a clear policy on remuneration that is well understood and has the support of shareholders. There should be clarity in that. Performance packages produced are aligned with long-term shareholder interests and have challenging targets. Reporting is clear, concise view of policy payments and the rationale behind them. Why are we actually looking into so much about the remuneration committee? The directors receive their remuneration from the company based on the performance. So if the performance is up to the standard, up to the mark, if they have achieved the targets that are set for them, they are entitled to receiving some remuneration, bonus, commission, incentive, award, reward, all those things would be there. The remuneration committee will be looking into the appropriate reward policy also. The role to have an appropriate reward policy is to see when there is a reward, people usually feel motivated to perform better. So, what should be the amount of reward will be looked into. Okay, to become eligible to receive a reward, they have to prove their performance. Okay. The performance in terms of the targets and tasks. So the remuneration or the rewards are usually connected to the performance or the rewards. So when are they entitled to receive a reward has to be clearly mentioned. There should be clarity in terms of rewards. See, something like that, if the company is profitable, then they will receive a reward of. See, profitability would be anything. What is profitability? Is there a standard profit margin which they have decided? So that clarity should be there. When are they going to receive? See, an amount of 5% profit margin is also profitability, 15% is also profitability. So rather have it a clear cut uh, standard that is set, a target that is set. On achieving that target, they would be entitled to receive a reward. So a clarity should be there on the remuneration policy. Okay, they have to be, it is not just that current period, but it should be considering a long period of time. See, if it is only focusing on the current period, some amount of manipulation is definitely possible, uh, that can take place. See, if it is the profitability in the current period, some accounting frauds can happen, some manipulation can happen in terms of deferring the expenses to the future periods, or bringing into picture unearned revenues. The future revenues which they are going to receive can be shown as the current period's revenues. See, if there is some agreement upon taking up the transactions in the future period, that can be shown in the books of accounts as current revenue. Some manipulation may become possible so that the current period's profitability position is depicted as very attractive so that they can receive remuneration. But if it is connected to long period, if they show certain transactions in the current period, defer them to the next period. If the current period profitability is good, the next period's profitability will not be good. So that they understand if it is connected to long period. So uh, in a balanced manner, in an appropriate manner, the accounting transactions will be recorded in the books of accounts. So they would not inflate the profitability to become eligible to receive the rewards. And the reporting should be clear, clear, concise view of policy payments and the rationale behind them. The responsibilities, see, as we have discussed that, we see the responsibilities. Determine and regularly review the framework The policies broad policy and specific terms for remuneration, um, terms and conditions of employment and chair of the chairman, board, and executive directors, including design of targets and any bonus scheme payments. Recommend and monitor the level and structure of the remuneration of senior managers. Establish pension provision policy for all board members. Okay, so they have to look into these areas. The overall remuneration framework will be looked into. They have to be involved in designing of the targets, and on achieving the targets, what is the bonus payment which is entitled to be received, what's the remuneration of the senior managers, and also you have to look into pension provision policy for all board members. So that set a detailed remuneration for all executive directors and the chairman, ensure that directors and key management are fairly rewarded. The remuneration of executive directors and key management is set by individuals with no personal interest. Agree any compensation for loss of office of any executive director. Agree any compensation for loss of office of any executive director. I do not know what would be the available time, but nevertheless, I just want to try out a case study related to remuneration. That one is also very small one only. It is about the one second. I'll put that on the screen.